disengaged. Restrict speed until clear of Gnosis control.
Landing gear retracted. Flight assist off. Flight assist on. System scan complete.
Empire engages Nova Imperium. The Empire has entered a state of conflict with the isolated
Frameshift drive charging.
group Nova Imperium in the Paris system. Senator Denton Patrios announced. The loyal Imperials of Upini Limited have engaged the isolationists' illegal armada. We call upon Imperial lords.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Auxiliaries to support our allies and destroy the Nova Imperium fleet. Imperator Mordenticus, leader of Nova Imperium, has requested the support of the galactic community. Nova Imperium's survival depends upon winning this battle. I urge all those who believe that Hadrian Duval should be the Emperor to support us.
Fuel scooping.
The two factions have set out week-long campaigns to overcome their foes, which will begin on the 10th of January 3305. Federal and Imperial campaigns end. Supply campaigns for the Federal and Imperial navies have concluded successfully, with traders delivering large amounts of military provisions. The League of Zela, acting on behalf of the Federal Navy, stated, "Many thanks to
Fuel scoop disengaged.
all the pilots who came through for the Federation. You can now collect your rewards at Mason Hub
Fuel scooping.
in the Zela system." An announcement was also made by the Surserco,
Fuel scooping complete.
which coordinated a similar supply campaign for the Imperial Navy. You have performed a great service for the Empire. Payments have been authorized at Mitchell Hangar in the Surser system. Marquis Felix Novantico, a retired military strategist, commented, "Tensions caused by Nova Imperium have triggered much activity of this kind. But for the Federation to do the same suggests concern about a potentially hostile empire, should Hadrian Duval claim the throne." Crew missing from Celebrity's Starship. A luxury star yacht belonging to famous actor Consuelo Knight has reached its destination with nobody on board. The incident was reported by independent news feed The Sovereign. Consuelo Knight's beautiful ship often attracts admirers when it arrives at a starport, but on this occasion it also brought security forces, since the custom-built private yacht was completely empty. Investigators discovered that the ship was in perfect condition with all escape pods intact. There were signs of recent activity, such as unfinished meals and handheld equipment on the floor. Computer records confirmed the crew's presence until a few minutes before arrival, when all 5 people, including Miss Knight, simultaneously vanished. Engineering and hyperspace experts have begun analyzing data to unravel this mystery, but there is no reason to believe there are any survivors of this phenomenon. Week in Review. Here are this week's main stories. The theft of a spectacular work of art has soured New Year festivities for thousands of federal citizens. A colossal hollow sculpture, inspired by the federal insignia, was due to be unveiled to mark the start of 3305. But upon activation, the image that materialized was a gigantic cat's face, winking repeatedly. Meanwhile, Professor Catherine Rook has admitted that her company's nanomedicines are of utopian origin, and revealed that the original material was sold to Vitadine Labs by independent pilots. She offered to return the original cargo to Utopia while insisting that Vitadine be allowed to continue the manufacture of its derived nanomedicines. Sim Guru Pranav Antal has insisted that production cease, however. In other news, preparations are underway for the second Distant Worlds expedition, which will see a community of explorers cross the galaxy. The expedition will chart a course through the heart of the galaxy, mapping unexplored regions and making new scientific discoveries. It will also involve the construction of a starport dedicated to the study of Sagittarius A. Nearly 4,000 commanders are
System scan complete.
expected to take part. The isolationist group Nova Imperium has started mustering its forces in the Parisa system, prompting Senator Denton Patrios to issue a statement ordering the ships to disperse. The Imperial Navy must now find a way to quash the threat without it being seen as a massacre of Imperial citizens, which will only fuel further rebellion. An open order for military supplies has been placed on behalf of the Federal Navy by the League of Zierla. A
Frameshift drive charging.
parallel operation is being run by Imperial faction the Cercer Company. Both initiatives begin on the 3rd of January 3305 and will run for 1 week. Finally, an initiative run by Herculean machines.
4, 3, 2,
Manufacturer of Aura Drive personal computers, has concluded. Multiple shipments of consumer technology, hardware diagnostic sensors, and computer components were delivered to the Blatrum system, which will be used to fulfill a large order from the Federal Navy. And those are the main stories this week.
fuel scooping.
Nova Imperium musters military forces. The isolationist group Nova Imperium is reported to be assembling its forces in the Parisa system. Senator Denton Patrios made this statement. "We have evidence that this seditious organization is amassing an armada in its home system. It consists of ships crewed by Imperator Mordacticus's ex-Navy followers, as well as the private vessels of many misguided citizens. As Admiral of the Fleet, I order Nova Imperium to disperse its forces immediately or face the consequences."
Fuel scooping complete.
The Imperial Herald's Cassio Carvalho commented, "Widespread support for Hadrian Duval has led to Nova Imperium amassing its fleet in a very short time. The challenge for the Imperial Navy is to quash this threat without it being seen as a massacre of Imperial citizens, which can only fuel further rebellion." Countdown to Second Distant Worlds expedition. Preparations are underway for the Second Distant Worlds expedition, which will see a community of explorers cross the galaxy. Science correspondent Leon Banerjee provided an overview for the Vox Galactica media outlet. The first Distant Worlds mission, in 3302, was the largest fleet expedition in history, and saw over 1,000 ships travel to Beagle Point and back. Distant Worlds 2 has even loftier ambitions, involving an impressive voyage through the heart of the galaxy, mapping unexplored regions and making new scientific discoveries. It will also involve the construction of a starport dedicated to the study of Sagittarius A. Project leaders Arimus Kamzel and Dr. Kai report that nearly 4,000 courageous commanders will take part, despite the risks involved, in a journey of over 200,000 light-years. Distant Worlds 2 is scheduled to launch in January 33.
System scan complete.
5, with the complete round trip lasting approximately 300 days. Herculean Machines initiative concludes. An initiative run by Herculean Machines, manufacturer of Aura Drive personal computers, has now concluded. Multiple shipments of consumer technology, hardware diagnostic sensors and computer components were delivered to the Blatram system, which will be used to fulfill a large order from the Federal Navy. Maddox Hurd, the company's CEO, made this statement. Once again,
Frameshift drive charging.
I offer my thanks to the galactic community for its support. We're very pleased to become a supplier to the Federal Navy, and we
Frameshift drive charging.
hope that the Uru drive remains in production for a long time. Pilots who took part in the initiative can now collect their rewards from Boltzmann Hub in the Blatram system.
4, 3, 2,
Supplies for Federal and Imperial Navies. An open order for military supplies has been placed on behalf of the Federal Navy by the League of Zila. A spokesperson for the organization gave the following statement. The Federal Navy urgently requires shipments of battle weapons, landmines, and performance enhancers
fuel scooping.
to be delivered to Payson Hub in the Zila system. A parallel operation is being run
System scan complete.
by Imperial faction the Sursurco, which announced, the Imperial Navy's Logistics Division has authorized us to process deliveries of battle weapons, reactive armor, and Imperial slaves. The drop-off point is Mitchell Hangar in the Sursur system. Both initiatives begin on the 3rd of January 33
Fuel scooping complete.
5 and will run for 1 week. If either initiative meets its targets earlier than
Frameshift drive charging.
planned, that campaign will end immediately. Vitadyne admits nanomeds of utopian origin. Professor Catrian Rook has responded to Pranav Antal's claim that her company
4, 3, 2,
nanomedicines are of utopian origin. I confess that Vitadyne Labs did not invent the nanomeds, but neither did we steal them. We were approached by independent pilots who discovered a crashed utopian transport ship. The recovered cargo canisters were clearly medical in nature, so the foragers sold them to us as
fuel scooping.
legitimate salvage. I would be happy to return the original cargo to Utopia with our apologies. The new nanomeds that we have created are our property, however, and I insist that we be allowed to continue their manufacture. Pranav Antal swiftly issued a reply. Any derivative nanomedicines must also be returned to us, and production must cease. Our technology
Fuel scooping complete.
it cannot be used outside Utopia. The Interstellar Health Organization has said that it will review the case and make a decision. Theft ruins New Year celebration. The theft of a spectacular work of art has soured New Year festivities for thousands of federal citizens. Kyoko McGrath, culture correspondent for the Federal Times, reported. A colossal hollow sculpture was due to be unveiled at midnight to mark the start of 3305. Inspired by the federal insignia, the intention was for the sculpture to be visible above Olympus Village and seen by millions of people. But upon activation, the image that materialized was a gigantic cat's face, winking repeatedly. The original hollow sculpture code was later discovered to have vanished. The Federal Security Service believes the culprit to be the same art thief who stole valuable works on Alioth and Eotienses A3, both of which were marked with an identical winking cat motif. There are no leads at present. Alliance and Federation react to Nova Imperium. The leaders of the Alliance and the Federation have commented on the rise of the isolationist group Nova Imperium. Prime Minister Redmond Mahone told the Alliance Assembly, "The civil unrest in the Empire is an internal matter, but it would be a major concern if it resulted in a policy change regarding inter-superpower cooperation. We are therefore watching the situation closely. In Congress, President Zachary Hudson said, "If Nova Imperium comes to power and the Empire ceases contributions to Aegis, our combined defenses against the Thargoid threat will be jeopardized. In such a case, the Federation would be forced to intervene in order to safeguard humanity's future." Independent sources have confirmed that Federal Navy resupplies have increased in frequency. Fleet maneuvers have also taken place in regions bordering Imperial territory. Week in Review. Here are this week's main stories. Federal Shadow President Felicia Winters has appointed Isolde Rochester as the deputy leader of the Federation's Liberal Party. The new Shadow Vice President is the matriarch of the powerful Rochester family, which includes the CEO of Core Dynamics and 2 Federal Navy officers. Vice President Rochester said she was honored to accept the position. Imperial senators supporting the isolationist group Nova Imperium have demanded that Emperor Arasyllabic Nidaval acknowledge its figurehead, Hadrian Augustus de Val. Chancellor Anders Blaine responded by saying that Nova Imperium was a fringe organization with no right to determine policy. The Emperor's lack of response has led to accusations of weakness, with many calling on her to step down. In other news, Simguru Pranav Antal has claimed that the nanomedicines developed by Vitadyne Labs were in fact developed in Utopia. In a statement, Simguru said the nanomedicines were never intended for use outside of Utopia, and demanded their immediate return. The leaders of the Alliance and the Federation have commented on the rise of Nova Imperium. Alliance Prime Minister Edmund Mahone said the unrest afflicting the Empire would be a concern if it affected inter-superpower cooperation, while Federal President Zachary Hudson said the Federation would be forced to intervene if Nova Imperium came to power and the Empire ceased contributions to Aegis. Meanwhile, the Federal Navy has requested a large shipment of Dora Drive personal computers from manufacturer Herculean Machines. Maddox Hurd, the company's CEO, said the request was a testament to the DuraDrive's reliability. Herculean has placed an open order for various commodities to fulfill the request. Finally, twin initiatives to supply Imperial Senator Simone Liedrich's festivities have reached a successful conclusion. As the campaigns drew to a close, Senator Liedrich said she hoped the sight of her glittering mountaintop retreat would serve as an inspiration amid the current civil disquiet. And those are the main stories this week. Antal levels accusation of Vitadyne. Simguru Pranav Antal, leader of Utopia, has made a statement regarding the new nanomedicines developed by Vitadyne Labs. The nanomedicines that Professor Katrian Rook claims to have created were in fact developed in Utopia, and have been in use for decades. Several months ago, a medical transport disappeared after departing from the Polvnik system. Our assumption is that the ship was attacked and its cargo stolen. Evidently, Professor Rook acquired Utopian technology and is now passing it off as her own creation. These nanomedicines were never intended for use outside of Utopia. Such sophisticated materials can only be controlled by Utopian engineers. We demand that our property be returned to us immediately. There has been no response from Vitadyne Labs. The Interstellar Health Organization has said that it will investigate Pranav Antal's accusation. Herculean Machines Initiative. The Federal Navy has requested a large shipment of Dora Drive personal computers from manufacturer Herculean Machines.
System scan complete.
Maddox Hurd, the company's CEO, made this announcement. It's a testament to the Dora Drive's reliability that the Federal Navy wants to make it standard issue, and we are proud to supply them. Fulfilling this order on time requires additional materials, however, so we urgently need deliveries of consumer technology, hardware diagnostic sensors, and computer components to Boltzmann Hub in the Blattrump system. The campaign is being coordinated by our partner, the Blattrump Allied Company Commodities, which has placed a kill order on all wanted ships to keep traders safe. I haven't ruled out the possibility that our rivals might recruit agitators to disrupt this operation. Who knows what Scorpio Devorah is up to these days. The initiative begins on the 27th of December 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Festive Imperial campaigns end. Initiatives to supply Imperial Senator Simone Liedrich's festivities have reached a conclusion. Mass deliveries of food and jewels took place in the Semias system. As the campaigns drew to a close, Senator Liedrich made this statement. My gratitude goes to those who helped make this
Frameshift drive charging.
celebration possible. I hope the sight of my glittering mountaintop retreat serves as an inspiration in these times of civil disquiet. Traders who supported the initiative can now collect their awards from Mackenzie Relay and the semi-
4, 3, 2,
system. An heir to the Imperial throne? Imperial senators supporting the isolationist group Nova Imperium have demanded that Emperor Slavic Deval acknowledge its figurehead, Hadrian Augustus Deval. Senator Eloise Winterstone proclaimed to the Senate, the Imperial
fuel scooping.
family must officially recognize Hadrian Deval as one of its own. Given that the Emperor has no children, such an act would secure the future of the Deval bloodline. Chancellor Anders Blaine replied, our official position is that Nova Imperium is a fringe organization with no right to determine policy. We have no more to say on the matter. Political journalist Cassia Carvalho wrote
Fuel scooping complete.
in the Imperial Herald, with the possibility of civil war increasing, the suggestion that Aris will accept Hengist Deval's grandson as an heir feels like a reasonable compromise. Her lack of response so far has led to accusations of weakness, with many calling on her to step down and for Hadrian Deval to be instated as sovereign ruler. Isolde Rochester becomes Shadow Vice President. Federal Shadow President Felicia Winters has appointed Isolde Rochester as the deputy leader of the Federation's Liberal Party. The new Shadow Vice President made a statement to the media. After a decade of serving in Congress, supporting both President Halsey and Shadow President Winters, it is an honor to accept this position. Many challenges face the Federation, and the Liberal Party is ready to meet them. The former deputy leader, Edgar Santiago, recently made the sudden decision to retire from politics and purchase a private luxury starship, despite not being known for extravagant spending. Isolde Rochester is the matriarch of the powerful Rochester family, which includes the CEO of Core Dynamics, and 2 Federal Navy officers. Rumors suggest that she called off the wedding of her son Ambassador Jordan Rochester when suggestions arose of Princess Aisling Deval's infidelity. Nanomed trials successful. Clinical trials for new nanomedicines developed by Vitadyne Labs have delivered outstanding results. Observers from the Interstellar Health Organization summarized, our teams carefully monitored the use of Vitadyne nanomeds on patients for whom conventional treatments were unsuitable. In all cases, the nanomedicines eliminated malignant cells, boosted immune systems and repaired damaged tissue. There is no doubt that this product represents a breakthrough in nanomedicine, with enormous healthcare potential. Professor Katrian Rook, owner of Vitadyne Labs, told the media, it's highly gratifying to have our work validated in this way. I'm grateful to the IHO for its diligence, and I look forward to introducing our nanomedicines to the galaxy. Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. Disgraced politician Juanita Bishop has called for a forthcoming book about the Far God sect to be banned. In a statement, Bishop described the book's authors as alien sympathizers and accused them of creating pro-Argoid propaganda. Gethin Okonkwo,
System scan complete.
one of the book's writers, suggested that Bishop's desire to hold publication was an attempt to prevent a criminal investigation into her own activities. A range of new asteroid mining equipment is expected to trigger an increase in the availability of ores and minerals. A spokesperson for the Industrial Mining Guild said the new tools would prompt
Frameshift drive charging.
surge in private mining activity. In other news, Princess Aisling Deval has publicly rejected the isolationist group Nova Imperium and its figurehead, Hadrian Deval. Senator Zemina Torval publicly
4, 3, 2,
voiced agreement with Princess Deval, but Senator Pal Vespasian said that many senators were willing to recognize Hadrian Deval as emperor in waiting. In other news, clinical trials for nanomedicines developed by Vitadyne Labs have delivered outstanding results. Observers from the Interstellar Health Organization said that the nanomedicines eliminated malignant cells, boosted immune systems and repaired damaged tissue, and said that the product represented a genuine breakthrough. Imperial Senator Simone Leatrix has announced plans for a week of revelry at her palatial residence on Capitol, in the Achenar system. In a statement, the senator said she intended to celebrate the end of the year with a sumptuous party at her mountaintop retreat, which would be specially renovated for the occasion. In support of the event, the Semius Imperial Society has placed an open order for various commodities. Finally, the conflict between two opposing factions in the Wally Bay system has ended. The fleets of both Wally Bay Technical and the Wally Bay Constitution Party were significantly reduced in a prolonged series of battles. The leaders of both organizations issued a joint statement, confirming that for humanitarian reasons they would bring hostilities to an end. And those are the main stories this week. Aisling Duval rejects Nova Imperium. Princess Aisling Duval has publicly rejected the isolationist group Nova Imperium and its figurehead, Hadrian Duval. These extremists cause only division. Hadrian may well be the grandson of Hengist Duval, but that hardly makes him suited to the throne. Arisa has been silent for too long. She must act quickly to resolve this volatile situation. Senator Zemina Torval responded, "Much to my surprise, I find myself in agreement with Princess Duval. The notion of an independent pilot becoming ruler of the Empire is preposterous. I am confident that the Emperor will respond accordingly." Despite this united front, Senator Paul Vespasian stated, "Many senators are willing to recognize Hadrian Duval as Emperor-in-waiting. Nova Imperium is now a legitimate political movement with several million supporters. The only way the Empire will survive is by accepting the Imperator's proposals." Supplies needed for Imperial festivities. Imperial Senator Simone Leatrix has announced plans for a week of revelry at her palatial residence on Capitol, in the Achenar system. The senator told the media, "We Imperials value the finer things, even during times of political upset. So I intend to celebrate the end of the year with a sumptuous party at my mountaintop retreat, which will be specially renovated for the occasion. To feed the hundreds of high-profile guests and decorate the senator's residence, Senator Leatrix has asked the Semius Imperial Society to organize deliveries of food and newly refined jewels to Mackenzie Relay and the Semius system. The initiatives begin on the 20th of December 3304 and will run for 1 week. If either initiative meets its targets earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Battle ceases in Wally Bay system. The conflict between two opposing factions in the Wally Bay system has ended. The fleets of both Wally Bay Technical and the traditional Wally Bay Constitution Party were significantly reduced in a prolonged series of battles. The leaders of both organizations issued a joint statement. "We recognize that our military leaders overreacted to accusations made by both parties. For humanitarian reasons, we have agreed to bring hostilities to an end. But we will honor the commitment made by independent pilots on both sides, who are now authorized to collect their rewards from the Wally Bay system." New mining tools released. A range of new asteroid mining equipment is expected to trigger an increase in the availability of ores and minerals. A spokesperson for the Industrial Mining Guild discussed the new tools at an industry symposium. Using mining lasers to remove surface deposits from asteroids can be difficult. The new abrasion blaster fires projectiles that break them free more easily. For deeper deposits, subsurface displacement missiles can penetrate the rock and then be detonated remotely, releasing larger chunks of material. Finally, there is now a way to access valuable resources deep within certain rare bodies. Seismic charges, when carefully positioned, can crack an asteroid open and free the minerals at its core. Combined with upgrades to existing tools, such as scanners and prospector limpets, we are confident that these new tools will result in a surge in private mining activity. Call to ban Fargod book. Disgraced politician Juanita Bishop has called for a forthcoming book about the Fargod sect to be banned. The authors, Aliana Vanderkonkel,
System scan complete.
are known alien sympathizers. One was arrested as a suspected traitor and the other has admitted to being a Fargod cultist. What they're writing is nothing more than proto-Agorade propaganda. It is an insult to all the brave souls who died trying to keep us safe. The authorities need to prevent this book from contaminating innocent people with its
Frameshift drive charging.
repulsive ideas. Journalist Gethin Okonkwo, who spent months undercover in the Fargod sect, responded. The book includes first-hand accounts of worshippers being attacked by Bishop's followers.
4, 3, 2, 1.
report its publication is nothing more than an attempt to prevent a criminal investigation into her activities. Positive response to Vitadan Nanomeds. The Interstellar Health Organization, IHO, has delivered a preliminary report on the nanomedicines recently developed by Vitadan Labs. The summary stated, nanomedicine is a carefully regulated branch of medical science, with little scope for
Fuel scooping.
public application, but Vitadan's nanomeds are more sophisticated and reliable than any existing product. Furthermore, Vitadan's data regarding healing, disease treatment and extension of longevity has been verified. Having confirmed the product's effectiveness, IHO teams are now conducting independent tests with patients. Media outlet Vox Galactica published this viewpoint from health
Fuel scoop disengaged.
care analyst Dr. Hilary Gray. The pharmaceutical industry is astonished that a small company like Vitadan could produce something so advanced. Professor Catrian Rook's credentials are impeccable, of course, but this is a work of genius. These nanomeds could be the most exciting thing in medicine for decades. Week in review. Here are this week's major stories. A new networked system named the Codex has been released to the galactic community. The Codex is a joint initiative from the Pilots Federation and Universal Cartographics, which announced that the system had been automatically uploaded to all vessels registered with the Pilots Federation. 2 new ships marketed towards independent pilots have been released. The Mamba, from Zorgon Peterson, is reputedly one of the fastest ships in production, while the Crate Phantom, manufactured by Falcon de Lacy, has been envisaged as a multi-role vessel. Hadrian Augustus de Val, the long-lost grandson of Emperor Hengist de Val, has broadcast a message to the Empire in which he emphasized his humble background and stressed that he had lived an ordinary life. He concluded with the words, "I've seen how diminished the Empire has become, and I know that new leadership is sorely needed." Meanwhile, the Interstellar Health Organization has delivered a preliminary report on the nanomedicines recently developed by Vitadan Labs. The report states that Vitadan's nanomeds are more sophisticated and reliable than any existing product, and that Vitadan's data regarding healing, disease treatment and extension of longevity has been verified. In other news, conflict has erupted between 2 factions in the Wally Bay system. Hostilities were triggered after the Wally Bay Technical claimed to have discovered stolen food shipments aboard their rivals' transport vessels. This was denied in an official response by traditional Wally Bay Constitution Party. Military leaders from both factions have issued calls to independent combat pilots, offering rewards for their support. Finally, an initiative to deliver rare commodities to an esoteric cult in the Zlotta system has been
Shift drive charging.
included. Barnabas Cobb, leader of the
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Children of Tothos submitted a handwritten message to the media that read, "By helping us, you free yourselves. You will feel the light of our testament fill you, just as it fills the heavens." And those are the main stories this week. Children of Tothos initiative concludes. An initiative to deliver rare commodities to an esoteric cult in the Zlotta system has concluded. Independent traders provided Agonai Prush, Motrono Experience Jelly, and Onion Head for a ceremony to be performed by the Children of Tothos. Other pilots protected the rare goods from being taken by pirates. Barnabas Cole, leader of the Children of Tothos, gave another handwritten message to the media. "By helping us, you free yourselves. You will feel the light of our testament fill you, just as it fills the heavens." The initiative was organized by Zlotta Federal Holdings, which allegedly counts some high-ranking officials as cult members. Contributing pilots can now collect their rewards from the Slain Falhard settlement in the Zlotta system. Battle commences in Wally Bay system. Conflict has erupted between 2 opposing factions in the Wally Bay system. Hostilities were triggered after Wally Bay Technical claimed to have discovered stolen food shipments aboard their rivals' transport vessels. The faction spokesperson said, "Robbing innocent people of vital supplies is nothing less than an act of war, and we are treating it as such." This was denied in an official response by the traditional Wally Bay Constitution Party. This outrageous accusation is intended to drive off our trade partners and damage our economy. We won't tolerate such slander. Military leaders from both Wally Bay Technical and the traditional Wally Bay Constitution Party have issued calls to independent combat pilots, offering rewards for their support. The two factions have set out week-long operations that will begin on the 13th of December 3304. Hadrian Deval addresses the Empire. Hadrian Augustus Deval, the long-lost grandson of Emperor Hengist Deval, has broadcast a message to the Empire. I am no wealthy senator from an entitled family, but someone who has lived an ordinary life. Someone who understands the hardships faced by many Imperial citizens. As Hadrian Jansen, I was a poor child with no family other than my father. Together we scraped a living as independent traders. He never spoke of his past, not even when he died 2 years ago. That was when I inherited his ship and became a commander myself. When Imperator Mordanticus informed me of my heritage, I knew I had to accept my identity as a Deval. I've seen how diminished the Empire has become, and I know that new leadership is sorely needed. I ask you to honor the legacy of the Deval bloodlines. With Nova Imperium, let's save the Empire.
Delisi Bravo Alpha November. Please approach the station at a safe speed and be mindful of other pilots in the area.
Empire engages.
Request approved. Set down on landing pad 2-3. Maintain heading and slow to approach speed, Commander. Meters from touchdown.
Landing gear deployed.
Landing successful. Docking restraints engaged. Enjoy your visit, Commander.
Landing
Restrict
gear
the speed until
retracted.
clear of the station perimeter.
Frameshift drive charging.
All clear. Flight control signing off.
Four, three, two, one. Incoming mission critical. Landing gear deployed.
You're on the deck. Ground crew dispatched. Welcome to the station, Commander.
Incoming message. Incoming mission critical message. gear
Lock-in coupler
retracted.
disengaged. Your way is cleared for departure. Heavy traffic around this facility. Proceed with caution.
Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one.
Approach is good. Maintain current course.
Access to docking facilities requires flight control authorization.
Docking complete. Ground crew dispatched. Greetings, Commander.
Incoming message.
decoupled. Exit the station quickly and safely.
Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged. Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. System scan complete. Landing gear deployed.